Hi everyone, I'm Lore and this is a video about how I mixed 3 patterns to achieve my dreamy blouse, and also how a day in my life looks when I'm drafting or modifying a pattern. I really hope you enjoyed this video, so let's watch it. To start with, here is the sleeve of the Tassi blouse, and this back and the 2 fronts are from another pattern. It's a basic pattern with a princess cut and with cup. And this is my cup from my ZUZU Corset from my RESTORERstudios line. So those are my patterns that I work with. So if you have a basic bodice with princess cut and with a cup cut from a corset, maybe you can use a pattern from a corset. First of all, this is my way of working. Could be a little bit messy for some people, but for me it just comes more natural and easy to work. I don't mind the paper and the words. For some people it's easier to work on white paper, but for me this is more fun, I think. I'm gonna transfer all of these pieces to a new pattern, so I can take all this excess, because I added a lot of pieces, and I can show you what I really did. Like you can see here, I added this piece. I don't like to cut my patterns. I just like to fold and add and then copy them on another paper, and then take my shape to normal, to how it was. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that on the new pattern, so I can show you all the difference and everything I did. I'm going to add 1 centimeter. This is the cup, and it is really important that you mark, especially your matching marks. This is my mark with my centerpiece here. So this is where my cup ends or starts. This is my center cut from the front, my center cut that matches my cup, and this one is to match the sleeve, the front. You see, I still make some mistakes. So here I'm missing 1 centimeter, of course. I have to put it back. And also, because I'm adding from the sample I made, I left it in 40 of length, but I'm thinking about making it longer. So yeah, if I want to shorten it, I can always do that. But I prefer to have my pattern with a longer bodice. So I added like 8 centimeters total. If I place my pattern, my front, it has to be straight on the center and straight on the bottom. And I'm gonna mark here my undercup and here. And they have to match perfectly. So once I saw this, look how pretty this undercurve looks. So the front is done with the cup. Again, we have to match seams on the paper. Yep, it's a match. So it has to match here the curve for my arm circumference. Okay, front is ready. Here for the back, I am also going to add the centimeters I added to my front. Okay, so there is something I really want to fix about the back. And I will show you, because for the blouse, I added at the end this border of the fabric, which I love. But I really feel that it should be added on the pattern, because this shoulder piece, I'm having the feeling that without this, it will be too thin. And the neckline will be too open. So I really have the feeling that this should be added to my pattern. So here I have 2.5. Okay, so this will be my back neckline, going a little bit to the inside. And also another thing is, like, this piece is looking too wide, and also when I wear it, like this little piece here, it's looking so like far away from home. So I'm also going to go back to the curve that the pattern already has. As you can see, this side pattern, it has this curve which I fold inside. So I'm gonna take it back and I'm gonna make a curve, but I have to keep the same width for my elastic, because I really need all this space to put it on. Here, this is where my first elastic will go. So I know here I cannot go inside. Why am I doing this? Because when I fold, when I put together my front and my back, my seam, I'm gonna push it towards the back, and you want your seam to match your other seams from your neckline and your shoulder and your armhole, or in this case, my next piece. And here at the bottom, remember I had to add 4 centimeters because my blouse was going a little bit up on the back and it wasn't at the same level of my front. So I had to add it because when you put elastic to gather, it shrinks in the length, because you can see here it forms like a bubble, so it pushes a little bit up. That's why I had to add here 4 centimeters I added, plus the new length. I can now fix this little piece from the shoulder. Remember, I added here in my back shoulder 2.5, so I also need to add 2.5 here.
what I did is I matched my seams, because I'm not gonna measure like this, otherwise my shoulder will be too big. I have to match my seams and measure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 2.5 here in the shoulder, but I'm going to loose it here, just under my strap from my cup. I almost missed a detail here on my sleeve. I was wondering why it was so straight instead of having a nice curve. Okay, so here you can see my first design, and actually I changed it quite a few times. But yeah, that's my process on the way I can see things, and if I don't like something I would just change it, or if I'm not that convinced. Like I had ruffles at the beginning and then I was overwhelmed by all the ruffles, so I decided not to. And now this was my new design with all the corrections I'm gonna make, the adjustments. So it's good that you redraw and that you write down what you're gonna correct, where you're gonna adjust, because otherwise you get lost. So let's start with the front. So for my front, what I just did is I just made it longer. Because, yeah, I think it's nicer if you just want to wear like a regular length, and if you want to make it shorter, you can always go higher. So I didn't do too much here. I just added the length with a slightly curve here for the shape of the body, also a little bit here on the side. I don't need to put too much curve because my back has the elastic, so that's gonna make the garment fit. This is the front. For my cup, this is the original cup from my corset. It's like an eye, but for here the only modification I had to do is the little corner here to fit my armhole curve. And then I have the back, which I made a few adjustments to. For my back piece, I added here 2.5 centimeters for my shoulder, to make it higher also on my neckline, because I thought it was just too small. And when I added this piece, I thought it looked way nicer. Like, yeah, it was too thin, this piece. So I added the 2.5, and I also added a little bit of a curve to give it a nicer shape. And then I added the length, of course, to make it longer, and I also added the elastic, but now I can see, and that's why it's always good to check your pattern with your sample. I used 1.5, not 1. I'm gonna leave it even in 2, I think. When I was doing this elastic in the back, I noticed that the closer it is, the more difficult it is to sew the elastic actually. So yeah, I did this in 1.5. That's what my centimeter says, but maybe it shrinked. So no, yeah, it was 2. It was 2. So I used 2 of separation. And somebody asked me, like, how did you put your elastic because it looks so clean? And I cut the elastic on this size. Let's say it's 8, so I cut 16 of elastic because this is half. And I placed my elastic at the beginning, I zigzag it, and then I stretch it with the fabric while I was sewing. So you can see it's even through all the length of the fabric. And that will give you a clean gathering and even gathering. And somebody else also asked me, why did you use elastic instead of bobbin elastic? And for me, bobbin elastic, it's too weak and it tends to lose elasticity with time. So I will use it for decorative things if I want to like gather something like maybe here on the front of the neck, like for a decorative reason, not to hold a fabric, a garment in place. I prefer elastic way more, and I wish I had put a elastic of 5 millimeters, but 3 is also fine. It worked very good. So now I'm going to, yeah, I fixed this because it was 2, not 1, and I will keep it in 4. Four rows, I mean. So I can have the space to place the elastic. Yeah. Okay, so we fix this. Good. And that will be it for the bag. That's all the adjustments I made. This is the sleeve of the tassy blouse, and I made it shorter. So if I put it right on top of my new pattern, you will see all the adjustments I made. You can see that the head and the pleats are exactly the same, but here I had to make it shorter because if you can see this blouse, it's more fit. The tassy blouse has a more loose fit, so it's not right at the edge of your underarm. It goes a little bit farther to have that loose fit. So that's why I had to go a little bit inside. These are like 3 centimeters to the inside. And then because I added this cuff, this is an additional pattern, because I still wanted that excess of fabric to gather, I had to add 3 centimeters to the side, to the center of the sleeve, and I had to go on an angle to go to 0 at the head of the sleeve. Otherwise, I will make the head of the sleeve bigger, which if you want to have more gather at the head, it's also fine. You can also add as much more gather and puffiness you want. You can just keep adding and adding and adding and making a massive sleeve. So I just wanted more gathering here than more gathering at the head. As you can see now, if I added more gather, this will be more of a balloon here. So that depends on your taste. What do you want to do with it? And because I added an angle here, my sleeve was going to be downwards and I was going to have a peak here going down, but I wanted my sleeve to be straight. So what I did is I also took these are 2 centimeters and a half, maybe 2 centimeters. I took 2 centimeters on the center and went to 0. And this, after my sample, I decided to add more of a length, 2 more centimeters. I think I added in total. I forgot to cut the under part here. I just noticed, like, why is it so long? Because I added, like I said, 2 centimeters. And I have an opening of 5 plus the seam, the hem, it's 6. So those are all the adjustments I made to the tassy blouse sleeve. And the last piece, which I had to change a lot and think a lot, is this piece here from the shoulder in the front. And somebody also asked me, like, how are you going to do to hold your sleeve in place, because I don't see a shoulder piece. It was this one, but now this is the correct one. And yeah, it's gonna be until here only, so the cup will be free to gather and go wherever it wants.
Like I said, it was a video on how I adjusted 3 patterns to achieve this blouse. And because I really enjoy making patterns, every part of the process I enjoy so much, starting from inspiration to sketch to pattern and to make the garment. I enjoy every step so much. This video was also to inspire you to be more playful, to play around with the patterns you already have. Maybe you have 2 patterns that if you mix them together you can make something nice. Like, try to also remember what you have and play around with it. And that's maybe how you can also learn to draft your own patterns if you don't know how to do that yet. This blouse, this is the tassy blouse. I just modify the front here and I open the neck on the front, not in the back, and added some ruffles. So just by doing small changes, depending on the fabric you're using, like adding these lace ribbons that I'm addicted lately. I'm just putting lace ribbon everywhere. And you can create such nice designs. So just let your mind flow and be creative, draw before, so you're sure what your design will look like. And it doesn't matter if you don't know how to draw, at least just make a square, but have a guide. Otherwise, your brain forgets what you wanted to do, and it's easier to have a feedback that you can look at and remember. And that's it. I really hope you liked the video, and until the next time, bye.